What is up, you chimpanzillas? You're fucking day-to-day killers. Yeah. So. Oh, jeez, I'm gonna burn my eyebrows. Done that a couple times. You think of the haircut, fucking. Yeah, I always come in here and I always do a terrible job, but it's free, whatever. So it wasn't a work day for today, it's not a work day tomorrow, so I figured I'd do a little tripping. Yeah, I mean, like, why not, right? And I thought the last video was just fucking hilarious. I couldn't stop watching the last, 20 seconds of that. Whatever the hell that gesture was. I think I just gotta start doing that on a regular basis because it confused people so much. It confused me. You can see my response is just like, what was I doing? Anyways, yeah. So I decided to mix fucking 4-ACO-DMT, 4-HO-MIPT. Not quite as nice of a mixture as just the 4-HOMIT and the 4-ACO-DMT. I think the 4-HO-MIPT makes things a little more chaotic, makes me feel a little more sedated, that kind of shroomy feeling. There's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, I personally, I have more of a preference to that, towards that clear-headed, introspection's there if you really want it. Look and you, seek and you shall find sort of thing. Not kind of forced upon you. But anyways, today I want to talk about what I see as the 5 D's of fucking control. You got your dependence. You got this one, I know you could say is more of a C, but cognitive dissonance, or just dissonance in general. Is dissonance. I'd say disgrace. Dehumanization and diversion. And I will try in my state to go through those as best I can, but I think the best way would be to use an example, because what bands the public specifically together and makes them less liable to question things and just go against status quo more than anything. Outrage against someone in specific, or a group in specific. That tends to be what stokes fire, because it's the proverbial witch hunt going. And I can't really see much more of a relevant example these days than pedophiles. Who likes a pedophile? I mean, I certainly don't. I mean, I've ID'd chicks to make sure they're at least 21. I don't want anything to do with fucking jailbait, man. I don't see why you would. That's gross. It's not any man or woman's onus to, mentally traumatize someone. But with that being said, 99% of those supposedly evil fucking pedos, I think it's 90%. They don't actually act throughout their entire lives. They don't act on it. I mean, like still be complicit in some way, you know, like kiddie porn, whatever the fuck they're into, but like they don't actually inflict real world pain on other people. But with the outrage that sparks, because, you know, it affects people on a primal level, because, you know, it's like interrupting the ideas of family and kin and protecting innocence and all that, which, you know, is valid, totally valid. But when that's happening, like say someone did something, you know, like tutor molested kid, parents beat the fuck out of them, something like that, parents held as martyrs, you know, there's that creates this like fisheye lens, and people don't think about anything else because they're getting that virtuous pat on the back of having taken care of a degenerate and being so self-assured in this consensus that we know what's right, we know them better than they know ourselves. And I think that is a huge illusion for a lot of people, because, you know, ultimately, other than going with that example, say the parents who beat the shit out of the offender, who really did anything? What, did the press do anything? Does the press honestly ever do anything that lends itself positively to a case like that? No. But the public, with that like rallying sense of self-assuredness, can sleep better at night and feel like they just know better all around. It bleeds into other topics, other parts of our ideology, you know. And like it's like going back to my list of these, like these 5 Ds that are basically screwing us on a daily basis. Like you have the dehumanization of some particular party, but I would also say that's kind of a double-edged sword, as I believe largely society wants to also dehumanize the individual, in a sense that, and I kind of touched on this before, but in a sense that, you know, it wants people to view themselves as cripples or, you know, disabled, or in some way seeing themselves as requiring external help, typically from like a federal or, you know, for me, provincial party, government party, and oftentimes it's like, you know, these supposed disabilities and whatever, you know, they're just a part of like who people are, and I think they're oftentimes forced on people, and you know, but I've touched on that before, so like I'll get a bit more into the other ones. Like I think diversion is a huge part, you know, like going with that example that I gave you, you know, I'm going to use that as an example from here on out. So that is, you know, like I said, diverting the real, like earned virtue for the parties who actually did something. And it's also just overall diverting from other issues because of that profound self-assuredness that is patting everyone on the back, or getting everyone to pat themselves on the back, pat each other on the back, because we're all so right at the end of the day. But I think, you know, that's the thing. So the society, the press, they very, very much want to divert information. You know, it's no secret that operations like COINTELPRO have been active for a long time, and like there's lots of government money that goes into projects that are actively trying to mutate information, make sensitive information. Like one big one I've heard is that Area 51 is like really just an old Air Force base, but this lore was kind of misconstrued out of something that was like otherwise just like an insignificant crash outside of an Air Force base. And because these rumors started generating, I think, with I can't remember if it was Philip Corso, who was the guy who said it, but that there was a UFO that crashed outside of the base and then retracted the statement. But after that, people watched how everyone's eyes were glued, everyone interested in that subject, their eyes were glued in that one Air Force base. So why not stoke that rumor mill and then get people continually fixating on that one thing, so they don't have to focus on what could be going on at, say, black sites, where they're like literally like torturing people who've had their like civil rights suspended because of perceived terrorism, Patriot Act type stuff. And, I'm talking about U.S. politics here, but this is another example of this diversion and why it's beneficial to certain people. But now I'll go into cognitive dissonance a bit here. I think a big part of what keeps people from really acting against some sort of systematic control is a sense of uncertainty in our own convictions. Knowing that we probably believe something. Sure, all the evidence points to it, but for the most part, I would even say I'm 98% sure about most things I believe. There's always a little room for doubt. And there should be. I think that's just critical thinking, but, because otherwise you have what I would argue to be a dogmatic sense of conviction where, no new information matters whatsoever because you already know what's going on concretely. But at the same time, I think there's so much information, conflicting information, that makes people, I watch people fucking fluctuate in and out of, left-wing, right-wing politics, on a weekly basis because of just the flurry of information. And I think, that sense of real uncertainty when it comes to our fundamental belief systems keeps people from doing anything, because why can you stand for anything if you don't know if you really stand for something in the first place, misinformation, diversion, very valuable to people in control for a variety of reasons other than what I've already explained. But let's see, so I'd say that covers 3. Actually 4, dependence, like I said, this perception of being a victim, and as a result of being a victim, requiring some sort of, hand out from the system, some sort of reliance on, say, medication, income, potentially government housing, stuff like that. When are all these cases warranted in the first place, or should they just be really at the end of the day considered just, this isn't a disability, this is just a part of who I am, and I don't have to make it a disability, I don't have to make myself a victim, because it's not a them thing, it's a me thing. The less external parties I have involved, especially with conflicting interests like making money off pharmaceuticals and stuff like that, you know, this stuff like, you know, whether or not we're victims, those are kind of like abstract ideas, and they're hard enough to figure out on their own, let alone when there are people telling you what to think. Like I think that like a huge part of my own life was derailed because of stuff like that. You know, there's value to people with bad motivations in people perceiving themselves as less than, and because of that, needing supplements from those parties with, you know, less than desirable motivations, right? So yeah, you know, that's enough about the D's that are screwing you in the ass. Now I'm actually surprised at like how lucid I was able to explain that, because I am fucking high. Bye.